Question 11. We've got Steve is working out the height of a tall building, 12 vertical building CD. The building is standing on horizontal ground. Steve measures the angle of elevation at the top D of the building at two different points. The angle of elevation of D from A is this, and from this and this. And then you're given that AB is 50 metres. ABC is a straight line. Calculate the height of the building, give your answer correct to three significant figures. So you're asked to work out what this is, so what the height of that will be. So what can we do then? Well, this is 65 degrees, and you just start putting down angles and seeing things help you out. If that's 65 and that's 90, you can actually work out what the whole of that is. So 65 and 90 is 100. So I just put the angle ADC. So ADC is equal to 180 minus 65 and minus 90. So we know the whole thing then is 25 degrees. Is there anything else we can then work out? Well, 78 degrees is here, 65 is there. Well, actually, if I put a dotted line across here, then we know that's 65 in there also. Again, is that helping us out? Well, not so much at the moment. But we also know that's 78 and that's 90. So we can work out the angle in here. So we're going to work out BDC, which again is 180. Take away 78 and take away 90. And that gives you 12. So we've got 12 degrees in there. We can then work out that this angle in here then has got to be 13 degrees, because if it's 25 overall. And then we start trying to consider how we could work out H. Well, I've got here, this triangle here, I've got an angle and I've got the alternate side. So if I could work out this side first, I can, because I've got this angle here. So I'm going to use the sine rule. So x over the sine of the opposite angle to that, which is 65, is equal to 50 over sine 13. Bring your sine 65 up. So 50 sine 65, and then divide that by sine of 13. That will then give you 201.44. So if that's 201.44, we can now, if I just quickly draw, just so you know what we've got here, we've got a right angle triangle. That's 201.44. And we know that's 78, and we want to work out what H is. Well, if I use trig, that's the hypotenuse, that's the opposite, and that's the adjacent. Nothing to do with the adjacent, so it's so, car, toa. Nothing to do with the adjacent means these two go. So it's sine of the angle, which is 78, equals the opposite, which is H, of what we've just worked out. So H then is 201.44 times by sine of 78. Which then gives the answer as 197 metres. Question 12. Simultaneous equations, so we need to make x or y the same. What I'm going to do is make y the same. You could make either of them, it doesn't really matter. But we'll go for x on this occasion. So I'm going to times the top one by, I'm going to make y the same. Times the top one by 5 and times the bottom one by 2. Times the top one by 5 gives you 15x plus 10y equals 55. And the bottom one times it all by 2. 4x minus 10y equals 40. Then take away, so we're going to add, take away. If I took away, these wouldn't go away. So if I add them, they are going to disappear. So this plus this gives me 19x. This plus this is 95. So then x will be 95 divided by 19, which gives me 5. I then put that in one of these equations, so I'm going to put it in the top one, so in 1. Gives me that 3 lots of 5 plus 2y equal 11. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2y equals 11. Take your 15 off, so 2y is minus 4. Y then divided by 2 is minus 2. Checking this one, 5 lots of 2 is 10, 5 lots of minus 2 is minus 10, but you've also got a minus in there, and a minus is a plus, which gives you the 20. So these are your two answers there. X equals 5 and y equals minus 2. The next one, I know that we're going to be using the quadratic formula. The reason I know that is because it says solve it and give your answer to 3 significant figures. So that's a giveaway to what it's looking for. Because if it said solve it by itself, you try and factorise it with 2 brackets and so on. You can't do that with this. So it's in your formula sheet. A is the coefficient, the thing that's in front of the x squared. B is the thing that's in front of the x. And C is minus 4. So we then get x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a minus b, so minus 2 plus or minus the square root of b squared, well that's 4, minus 4 lots of ac, so it's 4 times 3 times minus 4, all divided by 2 lots of a, which is 6. Simplify that again. Try and do this in one go now. Well, 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times minus 4 is minus 48, but it becomes an add because it's minus minus, so that becomes 52 over 6. And then we put it in a calculator with a plus on it, and then we put it with a minus, and that will give us our two answers. So minus 2 plus root 52, and then divide that by 6. So what we're asking for 3 significant figures, so 0.869, and then the other one which is a takeaway, so it's minus 2, take root 52, divide it by 6, which then gives you minus 1.54. Question 14. So what we've got here is Jerry, and he's got some metal, and he's cutting the metal into ball bearings. Now we know the cuboid measures 30 by 15 by 8. And it says the nearest millimetre, so what I'm going to do straight away is just change all these measurements into millimetres, so times them all by 10. And then what we're also going to do then is look at our ball bearings here. Now the ball bearings are spheres of diameter 5 mm to the nearest tenth of a millimetre. So the diameter there being 5 mm, so that bit there is 5, it's the nearest tenth. Now we're told a bit about the fact that it's 10 ball bearings and that equals 1p. Work out the least profit Jerry could make if he sells all of the ball bearings. Well, we're told first of all that it's to the nearest millimetre on each of these. So the least profit he makes is the worst case scenario of all these values, i.e. he's got the least amount of metal. So to the nearest mill, what you would do each of these is move a millimetre both ways, and then find the middle values. And when we've got those in there, we then look at them and go, okay, we're going to take the lower value each time. So to work out the total volume, it would be 299.5 times 79.5 times 149.5. So we times that together, and then that will give us the following. That's millimetres cubed. What we're then going to do is also imagine the ball bearings as big as they can. Now that's a tenth of a millimetre to the nearest tenth of a millimetre. So here's 5 millimetres. You move a tenth of a millimetre either way. 5.1 and 4.9. And then we take these values in here. So 5.05 millimetres. That's our value in there. Now we're going to work out the volume of a single sphere. Now the way you work that out is on the following sheet. It's 4/3 pi r cubed. Now our r is half because this is the diameter, so it's 5.05 halved, which is 2.525. So we're going to cube that value. So just going through the calculation now. So it's 4/3 pi. So I'm just putting that original first number in my memory, that's why I'm pausing. So we've got it there. So then we get 67.433, and that's in millimetres cubed. So if we divide one by the other, that's 52,787.65. Now that's the number of ball bearings. So if we divide that then by 10, because every 10 ball bearings you make a penny, so that'll give you 5,278, I suppose 0.7. So it'd be, that's the number of pence. Divide that by 100, that gives you how many pounds. And he bought it for £50. So if we take the £50 off, then he's made £2.78 profit. Question 15. ABC are points of the circle with centre O. Prove that the angle subtended by the arc BC, so here, at the centre, is twice the angle subtended at the arc BC at point A. So the trick with this proof is firstly to bring a line down through here, and what you can say is you've then created two isosceles triangles, here, here and here, because these are radii. So if we know this angle here and this angle here, let's call them x and y. So we know CAO equals x, and we're going to say that OAB equals y. Then what can we say? Well, they're isosceles, so if they're isosceles, that implies then that this angle down here has got to be x, and this angle here has got to be y. So ACO has got to equal x, and ABO has got to equal y. Now, if you know that to be a fact, then the other thing you can then say is this angle in here, what will this angle be? That's going to be the difference to take off 180 minus 2y. So therefore, in here, this will actually be 2y. Because if that's 180 minus 2y, then 2y is going to be a gap. So, if we call this point P, then 180 degrees in a triangle imply that COP equals 2x, so this value in here, and BOP is also equal to 2y. So our angle CAB is equal to x plus y, and our angle COB is equal to 2x plus 2y. If you take a 2 out, that's actually proving that it's always going to be twice as big.